You don't really want Bob to be relatable. You want Bob to be unlucky so that you can relate Bob to yourself. Because you are someone that has gotten unlucky. Y'all won't give a shit. Y'all won't give two flying Y'all will start spamming the wahaha emote. Oh my god, get wob, greedy and stupid, you lost. People would never care if Bob lost, but people would make a fuss if Bob won. And that is just tell me I'm wrong. Okay, so today's topic, which I'm not sure which day it's gonna be. Is it the same day as Power Creep or the MOC Reaver? I don't know. But today's topic is going to be pertaining to this right here, right? And yes, in fact, I read my YouTube vlogs, I read my comments, I read my chat. So this is going to be my free-to-play account prepares for 3.2, where I basically sort of broke it down for you guys, the update for how Bob was doing, right? In case you guys kind of forgot how Bob was doing, my brand new free-to-play account that I started in, I think around the 1st of, it's actually on the 3.0 banner. That being said though, I think I want to use this opportunity to address some of the sentiments that has been brewing up, because I know that there have been these sentiments brewing up for like a good while now. I think ever since Bob's account got created, there has been a lot of sentiments sort of surrounding whether this project is worthless, whether it has like zero purpose, whether it's like relatable, what's the point of Bob in the first place. So I kind of want to use this to address everything. The first thing that I kind of want to address is going to be this comment over here. Me personally, I enjoyed watching when you were doing SU for the first time and struggling, and also Pure Vision, but when you don't log into your free-to-play account and the executive command just do all the work of grinding, there's no purpose of watching only when you do poor quests. That's only my opinion. I only enjoy the grinding and doing SU modes and doing the relic farming and rolling relics on stream, or preferably videos where we all get excited when you get a god roll. I know you're overworking and don't have time for it all, but Bob would have been way more cinema than this. I was so happy when you announced free-to-play account and enjoyed it by the first update, but it was a quick down for me. So TLDR, I think this is one of the sentiments where people wanna see me actually grind through the events, the SU, the DU, the relic farming on Bob's account, and that would be the content that they want to see. I feel that this is good. This is good, right? We do all our story and our endgame for Bob's account. So every single time whenever we have a new endgame refresh, we'll always do it one on Bob. And then every single time a story refreshes, we'll always do one on Bob. But then this comes to the question. The process of Bob itself rolling for relics, rolling for or playing DU and SU, right? I feel like, at least for me personally, the Bob project as a whole, it's not really to show, oh shit, I need to get cooked on my relics. I miss my god rolls. I'm getting cooked by a similar universe. It is more so, at least my project's intention is how a free-to-play account can plan its pools and try to keep up with the endgame content in Honkai Starbucks. That is sort of like the entire purpose. Because what started this Bob project was that free-to-plays cannot keep up with the endgame. And unfortunately, this answer, the answer to whether or not a free-to-play account like Bob can keep up with the endgame, is not going to be known, honestly, within 2025. Because the thing is, Bob started in 3.0. Just like how old players, right? Old free-to-play players, they started playing Honkai Starbucks in like 1.0 or 1.1.2. Players that just started playing the game, you wouldn't really feel whether or not your units back then got power crept until 1 year later when new units comes out. So from the perspective of Bob, I wouldn't know whether my decisions for Bob, so whether we pull for Tribbie, whether we skip Robin, whether we pull for D Herta, whether we got Mighty in the Temple, whether these units, they are the right choice for Bob until 1 year later, when new units comes out and the initial income of all of the free-to-play pools, they get exhausted. Because let's be real, guys, Bob has, holy shit, Bob has like 1 billion pools at this point. Because we have been extremely conservative with our pools, right? We basically pool nothing. We have not put a single signature light cone. We only go for the unit that, you know, fits our narrative. That's why we even skipped Robin, right? We skipped Robin because I want to lock in on the E1 Tribbie. Now, that being said, whether we got lucky or not lucky is a different matter, which I'll be addressing as well later on. But my point is, this Stellar Jades, these pools that you see right here, they will not last forever, right? A majority, I would say 70 or maybe even 80% of this income, it is all from the resources that you get from starting out the game, playing the battle of events, and basically everything that has been compounding for the past couple of years, right? So the moment this thing runs out, you are gonna be looking at Bob from like, okay, every single patch you get like 80 to 90 pools. And then if you were to lose a 50-50, you get cooked. And then where do we go from there? That is how, or rather the main objective of Bob is not really to showcase how Bob is gonna be getting cooked by SU, because Bob did not pull for a single unit, right? Because back then when I was showcasing Bob with SU, we literally pulled for a single unit as D Herda, and then that was basically that, right? We had no other limited 5 stars. And very speaking, there are a lot more different accounts that I feel that can showcase this, which are basically mainly no pool accounts, right? No pool accounts, or players that are just completely didn't want to use a specific, or those challenge runs. I feel like that's more representative. Bob as an account as a whole is more or less how I share with you guys my thought process to a free-to-play account. Maybe it's no longer available to players that start in version 1, because let's be real, I can't go back in time 2 years ago, right? Bob can't go back in time 2 years ago and see how it's going to shape out. At least for version 3 going forward, this is my thought process for how I pull on Bob, and this is how the impact is going to be for this account. And then 1 year later, I'm thinking at least 1 year by version 4, we'll see if, because let's be real guys, if there's going to be power creep in version 3, there sure as hell is going to be power creep in version 4, right? Power creep in a gacha game, it will never go away. So I do want to see how this account is going to be looking like 1 year later when we go into 4.0, etc, etc. So hopefully that answers the question. Secondly, there have been quite a bit of complaints on whether Bob is even relatable, right? So the context to this story can be seen from this screen right here, right? Is Bob relatable? So unfortunately or fortunately, we got a My Day in 10 pool. And then we got a E1 Tribbie in 20 pools. So I would say this amount of luck for this account is unprecedented. It is probably the top 1 percentile of luck. Not to mention, this happened to a free-to-play account. So in comparison, right, the amount of pools it took Bob to get a E1 Tribbie plus a E0 My Day is what a unlucky free-to-play would get if they went hard pity for a single E0. But you know what's the unfortunate reality of this situation? There's nothing you can do about it. It is quite literally a warm situation. Because at the end of the day, right, a account, not just a free-to-play account by the way, any account in any gacha games, none of them will truly be relatable. None of them will ever match to your perception of what an account would look like. So maybe you're a player, right? You are a player that you are free-to-play, and you went hard pity from 1.0 all the way to 1.3. You lost every single 50-50 as a free-to-play, and you're absolutely cooked. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you're the guy that gets like 3-5 stars in a single 10 pool, or like 20 pools, or something like that, right? But they're both free-to-plays. The thing is, these two examples, they are like the extreme spectrum of whatever the standard bell curve distribution is going to be for anyone procuring a gacha unit in the 5-star. Because let's be real, guys, this is a fucking gambling game, alright? And in a gambling game, there are winners and there are losers. And that is the unfortunate reality for any form of gacha game in the world, right? So as much as I want to showcase what a free-to-play account can look like, it is frankly speaking beyond my control to make sure that this account is representative of every single account. Right now, people are upset. Right, y'all are angry that, you know, let's just take a look at the comments over here. I don't need that. I will just take a look at the comments over here, right? Free to play experience. D Herda E1 Tribbie My Day getting E0 S1 castorice anaxa potentially higher scene. Bob never considers losing 50-50. It took me 170 to get a character, 160 to get a light cone. That's what happened to me. Warm bomb, big booms, rest in peace, free to play. If Bob suffers, he is relatable. If he is lucky, he is greedy and stupid, right? So my bottom line is, these are the sentiments that people are like, because Bob has been, okay, let's just be honest, Bob's gacha luck is ridiculously lucky. But what if the flip side happened? What if Bob was just the unluckiest free-to-play in the world? And we went 160 pulls for Herta, Tribbie, and all that. Do you think Bob will gain any sympathy? Oh my god, Bob is so... Oh my god, he should get more pulls, man. Oh my god, Dawei, please give Bob more pulls. You know, he's so unlucky. Oh my god, he's just like me, for real. He's just like me. Oh my god, please. No. Y'all won't give a shit. Y'all won't give two flying fucks. Y'all will start spamming the wahaha emote. Oh my god, get fucked, womp, greedy and stupid, you lost. People would never care if Bob lost, but people would make a fuss if Bob won. And that is just tell me I'm wrong. You know, I sort of put up this statement over here, right? You don't really want Bob to be relatable. You want Bob to be unlucky so that you can relate Bob to yourself. Because you are someone that has gotten unlucky. Because think about it, for the players that have been lucky in the first place, would you be upset that someone else is lucky as well? No. Because you are also lucky, right? So like, oh my god, this guy is lucky, yippee! But for players that are unlucky, would you wish that others would also be as unlucky as you? Yes, because they want you to feel your pain, your misery, your god horrible experience in the gacha, because you want to empathize. You want someone to empathize with your lack of luck in the gacha, right? So you want Bob to be in the predicament where, oh shit, he failed everything, therefore he is now relatable. But do consider it is only relatable because he lost. But he will never be relatable if he won. Even though there might be also, you know, anomalies that keep winning the free-to-play, especially for free-to-play. It's not like free-to-plays can't win a 5-star or a gacha, right? Which brings us to the next point. The next allegation that Bob has. Why the fuck did Bob pull for a E1 Tribbie? Holy shit, that is absolutely unacceptable. No free-to-plays would pull an Eidolon. Alright, how dare Bob pull a E1 Tribbie? He is now completely unreadable. He is completely good. No single clear from Bob will have any semblance of achievement because Tribbie E1 has been secured, which, as you guys know from now, it is one of, if not the best Eidolons in the entire game, which is going to be addressed right here. You basically don't want Bob to pull Eidolons. You want Bob to be greedy and stupid, right? Okay, removing My Day that we got in a single temple, you basically want Bob to be an account that essentially pulls for every single DPS because they are the shiniest new toys. You don't want Bob to vertically invest in the supports, even if they're gonna be the best fucking island in the world, because you want Bob to be an account that showcases even at E0, the unit is good. My counterpoint is this. I didn't get an E1 Tribbie in 20 pulls because Bob is him. Alright? Bob got an E1 Tribbie whether or not he had 20 pulls because he made the conscious effort to skip Robin. Because back then we were at a crossroad of should we just get a E0 S0 Tribbie plus a E0 S0 Robin, or should we get a E1 Tribbie and we skip Robin? And honestly, me and my, the Bob executive councils, we thought about this on quite a little bit because back then it was before any of the version 3 units got announced in the first place, right? Bob with Babin, honestly, it could have been a really, really good comp, especially, Babin worked very well with Exiled. What if Babin works very well with other units? What if Bob loses 50-50 and gets some standardizer, right? Babin was gonna be Babin. But eventually, we still came to the not very easy decision that, okay, we are going to skip Babin and we are going to all-in Tribbie. Because the thing that Bob is essentially doing right now is this thing called vertical investment. Vertical investment, right? So the teams that Bob have at this current moment is essentially Team 1 and Team 2, D Herta. This is not supposed to happen because we got in a single temple, but this was supposed to be castorice, right? The reason why I wanted Bob to go through the path of vertical investments is sort of to drive home one of my points, which I feel like it can be quite relatable to the free-to-plays, which is if you pull for every single comp, eventually one day you are going to lose. Eventually one day you're not going to be able to keep up. You can't pull for every single unit because you are free to play. You don't have enough income, right? Whereas I want to sort of showcase this in contrast where I want Bob to vertical invest such that even when newer DPS comes out in the future, let's say Final, Let's say Cypher. Fuck it, Acheron rerun, right? All these DPSs comes out in the future. Bob wouldn't be that tight to the desire of pulling for these brand new DPS units. Why? Because we have already locked in to vertically invest the 2 teams that Bob already has. Our vertically invested team is gonna help us stay locked in and stay focused without divesting all of our strategies. Now, maybe at this point you should be saying, okay, then why didn't Bob just pull for an E2S1 Dewdrops? Why wouldn't Bob just go for an E2S1 castorice? Because the thing with pulling for E2, E1 signature icons for DPS is that we know by now a lot of DPSs, they are more prone to getting cooked. Alright, and the unit that had the longest shelf life, I would argue, is most likely gonna be Bubbin. Bubbin basically survived the entirety of version 2, halfway through version 3, until eventually Bubbin didn't really cook that well anymore with castorice. But at the baseline of the all baseline, supports generally still have that bit of value, especially if we compare to DPS. So let's say if Bob invested in Islands, right? Islands for a DPS. Look at what happened to E1 Jingliu, guys. Look at E1 Blade. Oh my god, E1 Scylla. E1 Jingyuan. Right? Comparing these, back then, people didn't know, right? Holy shit, E1 Blade changed my life. E1 Jingliu changed my life, right? Oh my god, even E1 Scylla is like, holy shit, oh my god, crit rate boost. The speed boost from E2 Scylla. As we speak right now, units, team comps, Lycons, they are not the only thing getting power crackers. Even Idolets are getting power. Look at what E1 D Herta does compared to an E1 Jingliu or an E1 Jingyuan. I would say that because of this, eventually by version 4, version 5, when all these units comes out next time, who is to say that what we know right now would pale in comparison once again? But I do know one thing. At least Tribbie, Tasante, right? Maybe she may or may not work with version 4 team comps, right? Who knows? But if I was a betting man, I'm more willing to bet on supports than I'm willing to bet on DPSs. And at the end of the day, these are all just speculations. Nobody knows what the hell is coming in version 4, but I can only make use of what information is available to me right now to make the best and most informed decision on my free-to-play account in order to try my best and reduce the impacts of power creep, HP inflation, all the shiny new DPSs, and be less greedy and stupid to get tempted into feeling, oh shit, I need this brand new E0, I need this brand new E0, I need this brand new E0. So that is gonna be the reason why we decided to get E1 Tribbie. Now, fortunately, unfortunately, we got her in 20 pulls, which, like I mentioned previously, is never gonna be relatable, right? Eventually, I feel that, okay, for all the Bob haters, you hate Bob, Bob should die now, right? For all the Bob haters thinking that Bob, he's just been ridiculously lucky, he's gonna lose. There's always going to be a law of large numbers. It might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, but eventually, somewhere down the road, Bob is going to start losing. Because this amount of pools that we have, it is not a infinite resource, right? The income is much lower than our expense, especially the moment we hit a hard 50-50. And I feel like that's gonna happen eventually. It's just a matter of when, right? So when that day happens, right, by the time Bob plays this game long enough, the Bob haters can rejoice because now she's gonna be a little bit more relatable, right? I do feel that 风水轮流转, right? The shifts in the balance of the yin and the yang eventually is gonna return. So Bob haters, worry not. We are gonna hit 160 for castorice. We're gonna get cooked on the bro. We're gonna hit 160 for castorice E0, and then we're gonna hit 160 for castorice S1. We're gonna spend 320 pools for castorice. Wouldn't this age quite well if we get castorice in a single tempo? Yo, editor, clip this part. In case you get castorice in a single tempo, we can laugh out this, right? So that is basically why Bob decided to get E1 Tribbie. One more allegation that I kind of want to address with Bob, and then before we move on, I want to take a couple of questions from chat, right? Essentially, what if Bob is actually blessed by Tawi and never loses? Stop! Okay, yeah. I have one last question from chat, and this one is more or less pertaining to the endgame, right? There have been these sentiments. I've seen a comment where, why can Bob take his own sweet time clearing endgame? Because Bob has been around with us for, I think, 3 months by now. Why can Bob slowly clear endgame, basically with shitty-ass relics? His account quality, honestly, is still really, really bad. Like, if you want to take a look at my relics right now, it is honestly kind of cooked, right? It is kind of cooked. Maybe it's not as bad as it was, but it was still hella cooked, right? You can take a look at our stats here. It is pretty bad. So why is Bob allowed to not have a time limit when it comes to endgame? Why should there be one? And I think this is a mindset that can honestly help quite a lot of free-to-plays. You feel like, oh shit, I can't clear MOC right now. I feel like this is a mentality that a lot of free-to-plays may have, which is they feel the FOMO, right? You feel the FOMO of not getting the max stars. Because if you can't get max stars, you are losing money. You are losing strategies, right? Oh my god, if I were to miss this strategy from this endgame rotation, they are gone forever. My account would permanently lose the strategies that I would have gotten if I were to get a clear. I hope that this, or at least why Bob doesn't feel like there's such a rush. First of all, he has a shit ton of stash, which not really the main thing. But the second of all is, don't break too many eggs just to cook up a mediocre omelet, right? In the process of getting max stars, right? I mean, we try our best, right? We try our absolute best to try to get it anyways, but you shouldn't be doing this just for the sake of 3-starring right now. For example, a single stamina refresh, right? This is 50 strategies, guys. This is 50 strategies. Sure, you could have used this 50 strategies, you get a little bit more tracers, you level units a little bit faster, you get but this is also a permanent 50 strategies that you're losing on your account. Worse. You pull a unit just for Memory of Chaos or just for endgame. You have the intention and desire to pull this result just for the sake of getting the maximum stars. For your information, a single tempo in this game is 1600 strategies. That's a single tempo, right? You don't even get a single tempo from full starring Memory of Chaos. So I hope that this never ever makes free-to-play road spenders ever feel pressured that you need to clear this ASAP, because otherwise you're losing strategies by not clearing. Because in the process of getting to your destination, you're losing yourself. You're losing your strategies. You're losing the reason why you even wanted the strategies in the first place. You didn't realize that you just spent 70 pulls to get 36 stars out of 36 stars, and then, you know, you didn't invest in the 5-star that you pull for, and then you want to pull for the next 5-star, and the next 5-star, and the next 5-star, just for the sake of 36, and then you lose a 50-50 one day. I'm like, oh shit, my account is fucked, right? So hopefully this can help players realize that honestly it's no rush. It's a PvE game, guys. There's no challenger rank. There's no elo reason. There's no elo reset, right? There isn't any competitive elements in order to clear this as fast as possible, especially in the mindset of a free-to-play that wants to get there, right? So, and I have one last allegation that I want to address. And I honestly have addressed this before, which is Bob account has executive account managers. Therefore, he is not a free-to-play. I saved the best for last, guys. So this is probably one of the most interesting allegations that I've seen, which is because of the use of executive account managers, Bob is no longer free to play because he's basically doing the events, clearing the story 24/7, and he caught up to all of the backlogs, right? So here's my response. Do you guys know the events and stories in HSR, in SU, in DU, they have no time limit, guys. You can just do them. Every single event and every single story, they last forever. They quite literally last forever. Maybe there's like the limited time rewards where if you didn't clear it fast enough, you lose it. But it's like pales in comparison to the ridiculous amount of strategies that we have gotten. For example, right, if you want to go and explore DU right now, right, all these curios, right, all these things, right, all these, right, the gallery of possibilities and everything, there actually is no time limit. You can get them whenever you want, wherever you want, and when you get them, it's a permanent increase to the strategy counts. All right. So here's the situation. Unfortunately, right? As much as I would, grind this 24/7 on stream and everything, I still do want to make a lot of content for HSR. My entire channel's purpose is not Bob, which honestly is sort of similar to the very first comment over here, where they want to see the process, right? You guys want to see the process of Bob suffering and grinding through SU, which is why you don't really want to have executive managers. You want me to do all it by hand, right? But unfortunately, I do have a lot of content to do, right? Also, on top of streaming this, it sounds like an excuse, but it's just genuinely me explaining why we're not doing this everything 24/7 live. Because I have guides, I have games to play, I have gyms to go, I have a wife to take care of, right? I have kids to feed, I have a chat to babysit because they are 24/7 begging me to play anything but HSR. They want to play League and everything. So at the end of the day, as much as I would like to just be a complete normal free-to-play player, such as you guys that are not doing content creations, you do not have 2 accounts, you are like somebody that's commuting from work day in and day out, you probably play this 5 minutes. As much as I want to do this, I can't. Or rather, I won't. Because there are more things that I feel that is going to be serving a greater purpose for my channel, for my viewers, and for yourself that's going to be watching this video right now, right? But that is me personally. Unfortunately, we're not going to do all this by myself. If you do not like this idea, there's really nothing much I can say, right? The only thing I can say is all of these stellar jades, every single income, every single pool, like you can say, I have 70,000 stellar jades. None of them are from top-ups. They are all a complete free-to-play resource. This is a huge backlog of everything that we have been procuring for the past 2 years with the help of our farmers, but there's no top-ups. Except for that few, some fucking G-buys, they fucking topped out the monthly shop refresh, like the monthly pass, to Bob account because they just want to ruin anything because there's no purpose in their lives. Fuck themselves. But for those, we also keep track of the monthly pass strategies, so we're never ever gonna touch them, or we're never gonna touch them. So that's gonna be that. So hopefully this can satisfy you. Otherwise, I'll look forward to at least you want to take a look at Bob on how his thought process is like. How do you make this free-to-play account be? How is it gonna look like by 4.0? So that is pretty much gonna be it. I don't think this is gonna be a very black and white where the explanations are gonna be able to make everyone happy, love his happiness, hail Bob. There are still gonna be people that are gonna dislike Bob. There are still gonna be people that think how Bob should be ran. But at the end of the day, this is how I choose to run Bob. And I hope that's gonna be good enough for you guys. Right? So with that, we have come to the end of did I break my free-to-play account? Or did I play my free-to-play account wrong, right? Let me take 5. I'll take a look at chat and see what are the comments that we have right now, right? Hold up. DU has time limit. It has a 3-month timer. DU has a time limit. SU doesn't. Okay, great. DU has a time limit. Bob is 2 years of Jade. Envious of Bob. 70k not free to play. Free to play plus maybe. Nope, it's complete free to play. I always read my chat. I don't read my chat when I'm monologuing. You're saying that Bob will stay the mighty casual deal. I mean, the only pool for balance of supports. We'll pull whatever is available to us, and then we'll go by them. Right. So for example, this My Day, I didn't even want to use it. But because of fucking Baga player and we got in single tempo, we're just gonna have to use it eventually, right? So there's Claire Obscure Expedition 33. Okay. You ain't losing significant currency by not doing MOC 12. What is the comment section saying? You guys can check it out yourself. Pokke should break Bob's account on purpose. Now Bob versus Flame Beaver. It only takes 2 hard pities to completely ruin everything. So the moment Bob gets cooked by RNG, and like I mentioned, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, we're gonna have to worry. We're gonna have to struggle. I'm so glad that I told Bob to do a cheeky tempo. Sarah, it was Baga player that gave the subs. Okay, you know what? No, it's not Baga. Sarah bricked Bob's account. Sarah is the reason why Bob has every single limited 5-star since Dewdrops, minus Aglia, right? Minus Aglia. Pokke is where see the blessing of Huan Huan. How long have you saved for Bob? I basically pulled for 3 units. Herda, Tribbie. The Mighty, it was a Sarah cook. Sarah cooked Bob's account by Sarah plundered the Mighty, right? But essentially Bob only put for 3 units. And then we're gonna basically go for castorice, go for anaxa, go for maybe Kayan because we don't really have a sustain there. We just see how it goes forward, right? Save time for you, collect Jade's free to play account, get them all early, unless investing all this time. Yeah, absolutely. I don't think free to play can get every single Jade in day 1. Absolutely not. You basically just have to play the game, right? Essentially, the first DU lasts from 2.3 to 3.0, so you have 8 months or 9 months. So basically, okay, DU is time gated, but SU is not time gated. So you basically have 9 months to 8 months to finish up DU. Yeah, take your time, guys. That is basically all I have to say. Just take your time, right? There's no rush to finish DU. Eventually, when you finish, it's gonna be great, right? Bob have all meta unit. I don't think 1 or 2 VDs is gonna lose. Until 4.0 rolls around. Because I'm pretty sure by 4.0, it's no longer going to be HP meta. It's no longer going to be super break. I don't even know what the fuck 4.0 is going to cook. It might be DOT, guys. Right? 4.0 might be DOT, and Bob is going to skip. Okay, for example, Bob is most likely skipping Cypher, right? Bob is skipping Cypher. I don't know if Bob is going to be pulling for Final On. Most likely not going to be the case as well. So we'll see how it goes. If you don't finish DU in 9 months, you just don't deserve rewards. Okay. When do you start investing in a third team and stop vertical investing in 2 teams? When we find a need to. For now, I'm fully locked into these 2 teams. No reason for me to basically go otherwise, right? No reason to go otherwise, right? I think the next 5-star after higher scene is most likely going to be the 5-star Mimi. Most likely going to be 5-star Mimi. So once that happens, we can push out our My Day. Then My Day can be like our pocket trick shot, right? It can be our random pick. In 4.0, they add a new button, okay? I think of right now, all Bob is proving that new units are stronger. He'll have undeniable proof that free-to-play can chase. Yeah, absolutely. I don't think you need Bob to prove that new units are stronger than old units. And I hope that chat or like the viewers that are watching this video, you don't think that Bob is to showcase that new units are not good. Because it definitely is good, right? Bob started on this patch, just like how back then, your accounts that started in version 1 and version 2, all the new units that you start on, they will always be good. Like, literally no one is questioning this. It's just a matter of later down the roads. When I already pulled for these new units, can they still keep up when even newer units comes out? Which is why I say, as of right now, Bob can't really show anything, right? He can't show whether or not power creep exists or doesn't exist, because they are at the tip top of their prime. They are peaking right now. They are arising right now, right? Eventually, when they do fall off, is when we can start to see whether power creep is going to be a problem for Bob, right? So that's going to be there, right? Absolutely. Can Bob tank 3 hard pity of castorice and next at higher C? Nope. I'll be completely honest, guys. If Bob goes 3 hard pities for both castorice and next and okay, 3 with higher scene, I think Bob might have to consider skipping either a next or higher scene. Either a next or higher scene. One of them has got to go. Right? I feel like it might most likely be a Nexa, just because Bob has no sustain, guys. Bob has 0 limited 5-star sustains. Yeah. You know, so I think we're most likely going to be skipping Nexa, because we really need this. Because Gallagher is getting old, guys. He's wholly overworking. And our side too is we need help, right? As much as we all love, very, very good, excellent sustain, all that, she needs to retire, right? And Gallagher can't keep going on carrying the entire team on his goddamn back, right? So I do think the highest is gonna be more of a priority there next time, essentially, right? Trust me, Gallagher will fight till the end of a service. Yeah, chat. It's year 2030. Gallagher is still tier 0 of the sustain tier list. Cinema, right? No one loves Balatro. Okay, mods kill, yes, but right. When do you think Bob should start properly clearing endgame content, or when our team starts getting locked in? I feel like when castorice comes in is where we can go, because our rays are honestly still a little bit sus. Even our tracers are a little bit sus. Kind of. Yeah, kind of sus. Like we have like 2 speed boots. The fuck? So that's pretty much it, right? Okay, chat. I think with that, we have come to the end of our addressing the Bob allegations. I still don't really know what's the video. I feel like did I break my free-to-play account? Or did I play my free-to-play account wrong? Like all caps, wrong, right? I think that should be the title. Word of the day is gonna be Suffer. Suffer. Join Twitch, join YouTube, join Discord, join Twitter, join Twitter. All the best for guys to put. See you guys next time. Take care.